All right, what is up, internet? It is August 30th, and this is my daily cryptocurrency journal. Full reminder, I am not a licensed financial advisor, so none of this is financial advice. This is just my personal cryptocurrency journal. That being said, let's get right into it. So Bitcoin had this big move up on the Grayscale news that they won against the SEC in the lawsuit, and we've kind of been trending down here ever since that local top was put in yesterday. On the grand scheme of things, I do think that this could potentially be a sign of strength phase in terms of Wyckoff. This was your accumulation zone right here, and I believe this is our sign of strength phase. So what I would like to see is I'd like to see us come back down here to test this, get a nice little rejection off the support before continuing up higher. If this is indeed bullish, right? The other scenario is that if this is bearish, right? And if we actually break down through this and come back down here, then this is definitely, I see this as a UTAD event, and it is much more likely that we're going to go take out these lows because yesterday was very significant news. So I think that if the market is unable to rally from this, right, if the market is unable to set higher highs, then I think that's very bearish for Bitcoin, and it increases the probability that this was indeed the top, right? So in losing this would mean I think we come take out these lows and take out this low right here, potentially seeing volume, seeing support below this level of some sort. But hopefully, I'm hoping that's not the case. Right now, I'm still bullish. I'm thinking we will take out this high and we'll make our way higher. But in the short term, I am bearish, right? So there's a kind of important levels, as you can see right here. This is kind of an important level that I have right here, and I'd like to see us at least trade sideways here. If we can trade sideways here, then I do think we get a small little bounce potentially to clear these highs, you know, make our way up here before continuing the trend down. But ultimately, if we just nuke straight past this and we keep continuing the downtrend, then I would really like us to hold support around this level right here. You know, maybe if we came down here, wicked here and shot back up, that would be another good scenario, but I really don't want to see us trade back down to the bottom of this range. I don't want to see us do a full retracement because that would be very bearish for me. So that's kind of my bias. My bias is for today is a bit conflicted. On the short time frame, it's bearish, but on the medium time frame, it looks bullish, given this could be a sign of strength, right? It's possible we get a small bounce since we tagged 27.1, which is basically this line right here, and then continue the downtrend until we retest 26.8K, which is this right here. Therefore, if we are bullish and in a sign of strength phase, we should see volume start to step in. So my bias overall for today's chop with an underlying bearishness, we could get a small bounce up to 27.1, but ultimately I think we head towards 26.8 before we get a more meaningful bounce. Okay, so the bearish scenario is that this downtrend continues, right? We end up taking out this low and we make our way down to 26.8. The bullish scenario is that we trade sideways here. You know, we catch a bit of a bid and we come take out some of these highs. Maybe we do have a more meaningful retrace, but I do think we're going to have to come down here unless spot and CVD volume really picks up for whatever reason in here. The Wyckoff structure, I already talked about this. On a higher time frame, it looks like we could be in a sign of strength phase of an accumulation range. On the smaller time frame, we're in a downtrend, right? Which coin looks to be the strongest? In spite of the downtrend, Bitcoin currently looks the strongest since alts are bleeding against Bitcoin. So I'm kind of focusing on SOL and composition. I removed XRP from my altcoin list because XRP has kind of been dead and it just hasn't really been that interesting to trade. You know, it's kind of just been trading sideways, not very much volatility, where SOL and comp has had more meaningful moves. If I look at the BTC pair for example, Solana, there's a lot more volatility here. We're also at the bottom, near the bottom of this Bitcoin range here. So we've been trending down, and I think that once we get to around this level here, then we'll have some sort of bounce for Solana, which I'm expecting. For composition is also in this accumulation range, looking for us to hit this point of entry before potentially looking for longs. The Bitcoin pair looks not too interesting. Well, there is something interesting that I will talk about, but if you go out on a larger time frame, it's pretty much down and to the right. It looks like it's kind of consolidating in this falling wedge of some sort. So I'm waiting to see if we break down out of this or if we trade sideways and potentially break out of this for a potential long on the Bitcoin pair. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for that. On terms of the Wyckoff structure for these alts, they're both in accumulation phases. It looks like accumulation to me for composition, and then also for Solana, this looks like accumulation to me. It all depends on what Bitcoin does. You know, if Bitcoin does break out and make all newer highs, then I would expect Solana to break out of this, you know, potentially making a move up to here. And same for composition. I'd expect composition to break out of here, potentially making a move up to here. But again, it depends on what Bitcoin is doing. For positions, I think ideally it would be nice if Solana made a move down to this point of entry here, because you do have a nice bit of volume right here. I don't know if it's possible we can make it as low as here, although again, it depends on what Bitcoin's going to do. You know, if Bitcoin reverses, you know, then I think it's much more likely that we hold here and make our way up. If Bitcoin continues to fall down, then I think it's very likely that this entire thing gets retraced for Solana, you know, and we do hold right here, or maybe we even set a newer low. I just play it level by level. You know, I go with what Bitcoin tells me, and however Bitcoin is looking, then I'll look at the altcoin pairs. But I do think we're going to get some sort of bounce for Solana, at least once we get down to right here. So once this gets tagged, I'm going to set an alert for here. That is when I'm looking to take Solana longs, and hopefully that will coincide with a tag into this point of entry here. So comp looks the weakest. It's been trading down against Bitcoin, although it looks like it could be breaking out of its Bitcoin pair soon. So basically just referring to this falling wedge, you know, pattern, whatever you want to call this. It could be breaking out to the upside. It could be breaking down to the downside. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Already talked about the Wyckoff structures for the altcoins. So yeah, that's kind of my game plan for today. Really want to see if this holds in here. I think on here, yeah, I have this point of entry laid out right here. Let's check the CVDs. Looks like futures is trending up. Looks like spot is going flat. So we did have a nice big liquidation right here of, let's see, 5.3 million liquidated. So I think that is the largest liquidation we've had in this range. Let's go to the 1 minute chart. Yeah, this is definitely the largest liquidation we've had in terms of longs being liquidated. So it would make sense to find a bottom right here of some sort. So if we can hold this point of entry, if we can hold in here and we start to see the futures and spot CVDs pick up, then I would look to enter a long potentially to make a move up to the top of right here before continuing the trend down, back down to 26.8. You know, I'll have to see how the day goes, because who knows how long this accumulation or distribution zone will last. You know, let's look at open interest. Open interest also has had a decent meaningful reset. It looks like right here it got reset. It's been increasing right here, and as this kind of fell off and had this avalanche structure down, it looks like OI was getting flushed, and it looks like OI is increasing right here. So I'm not sure if these are longs or shorts entering, but if we could actually get like a breakdown into here, you know, then I think that would be a meaningful telltale sign that we're going to have a more meaningful move of some sort once the OI gets completely flushed from this area. Just checking funding really quick. Not really seeing too much signal. Looks like funding's kind of flat. Looks like maybe more shorts entering here. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. So I'm going to just play it level by level. Watch the PA for today, set some alerts. I really want to see how Bitcoin is holding up in here, and if we can get a meaningful bounce here. Otherwise, the bounce is lackluster, you know, and we come up back to here, and CVD volume is looking pretty bad, then I'll probably look to play short to take out this low and make our way down here. All right, so that's what I'm thinking for today, guys, and I will see you at the end of the trading session. Later. All right, internet, it is the end of the trading session, and my bias for Bitcoin was correct for today. My bias was that there would be chop with an underlying bearishness, and that's exactly what happened today. Is Bitcoin has been chopping around in this range, and still very much bearish. If you check the CVDs, here, let me remove these. If you check the CVDs, you can see spot has been selling throughout this period and futures is bidding. So classic TWAP, time weighted average price movement coming from the futures market, where spot will be selling, signaling that there's no demand. Futures will be holding the market up. And usually when the TWAP stops, so once futures stops bidding, then you'll actually get a rollover in price and the lows will get taken out. So that's kind of what I'm expecting right now. I believe the TWAP has stopped, or at least there's a high probability that the TWAP has stopped, because we did put in a high right here. or you can think of this as a UT or UTAD, and we did get a nice flush in open interest right here. Usually I wait for a liquidation of some sort, like a short liquidation, a big one. We did not get that, but because we did have such a nice flush in OI, that made me think that this could potentially be the end of the TWAP. However, if we do get some more green deltas from the futures, like this one right here, like this right here, then it's very likely that this high will get taken, and the price action will continue to grind up probably until there is a large liquidation of some sort, and then it rolls over. Today's trading went all right. I took a so long at the start of the day. I got a really good entry in right about here, just like right at the lows here, and I was going to trade it up to right here. Unfortunately, it rolled over prematurely and I got stopped out at break even right about here. The second half of the day, I ended up shorting composition, and I just didn't do very well on that. My execution was not very good. I just got a little bit of FOMO trying to like short it in here and then end up closing the position. I got chopped up in the TWAP that was going on in Bitcoin. Ultimately, what I should have done is I should have waited for Bitcoin open interest to close, a flush in OI before I got an entry of some sort, and a break of these highs would have been a really nice entry for a composition short. I'm currently in that short. My cost basis is probably around right here. Actually, I'll just pull it up right here. Yeah, you can see my cost basis is right about here. So I did not get the top. It was all right execution. I tried to be very strict about my execution because I use such high leverage, and I think it's pretty necessary. Like if you're going to be using high leverage, again, not financial advice, but if you are using high leverage, then making sure you have really strict entries, very precise entries, is super important, and that's still something I'm continuously working on. So got chopped up in that, although I do think that Bitcoin is going to roll over. So if we do roll over, then I believe that these lows will get taken for composition, and I'm looking to take profit around these highs right here. So my take profit level is right about here. So we'll see what happens for Bitcoin. If the TWAP continues, if we still continue to grind up higher, then I think it's very likely that this high will get taken and I might get stopped out on my composition short, although I think it is unlikely. My stop loss on my composition short is not the best. I have it up here. This is a high conviction trade for me. So if I do get stopped out, then I would be losing a significant amount, probably like a really good amount compared to my take profit. So not the best risk to reward ratio trade, but given the circumstances of how bearish Bitcoin is looking with the TWAP, then I think this is a pretty high conviction trade. My only concern is that usually when Bitcoin does TWAP like this, usually it's because market makers are seeking liquidity on the upside to run the stops and to run the stops of either shorts or to liquidate shorts. So if we do get a move up, who knows how violent that move will be, and those moves can be pretty violent in the grand scheme of things, so we might, if we do continue up, we might get like a one wick up to here that automatically gets retraced right away, and if that happens, then composition might have a pretty significant move and that might stop me out. So just food for thought for myself, but I'm gonna hold that trade probably overnight and trail it throughout the day. I'm happy that my bias today was correct, although my execution could have been better. The coin that was the strongest ended up being XRP, although I wasn't trading it, wasn't really looking at it. As you can see, it's been trending up relative to Bitcoin. It's actually been making higher highs, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. XRP seems to have a mind of its own. You can see spot is kind of flat and futures is bidding here, surprisingly. So don't know what's going on with there. Maybe there's like an abundance of open interest. And as you can see, yeah, it looks like composition is already going against me. So this is a good example of just like my patience, right? Like I executed my trade like down in here. I took one trade around this level here. And then when this happened, right, and it came against me, I took my other entry right here. But I should have been more patient and waited for a market premium because I probably would have gotten a better cost basis, and now it's going against me. Anything interesting for the altcoins? Potentially a 3-drive pattern for comp. So basically you have 1 drive here, 2 drives, and then a 3rd drive right here. If this is indeed the top, then we should see comp swiftly roll over here. But it's all dependent on what Bitcoin decides to do, because if Bitcoin decides to continue to TWAP up higher, then it's very likely that composition will set a new high as well. So yeah, look at that. You had big green delta from both futures and spot. So it looks like the TWAP is going to continue probably until there is some sort of 100K short liquidation. So we will see for that. That's the thing about the TWAP, is you have to respect it when it's happening. You don't know how high it's going to go until you get like some sort of liquidation event or some flush in OI. And that's the thing that makes it difficult to trade. Although when you do know that it's happening, then you can hop on the train on the way up. ideally. Yeah, all right, so that's it for today's video. I'll do an update tomorrow on how this trade went, if I end up getting stopped out or if it ends up turning into a profitable trade. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.